that there is no minimum amount required for an expat or an international buyer to buy in Canada. That means you could buy a property for any amount. Hi everyone, my name is Yousaf Iqbal. I'm the country head of IQI Canada. I'll be discussing about the process for an international buyer to buy a property in Canada. The number one thing is that there is no minimum amount required for an expat or an international buyer to buy in Canada. That means you could buy a property for any amount. Number two thing is that you can sell your property or buy your property from anybody local who is here. There is no quota system, which is an amazing thing. Now, a few things which you should keep in mind, especially if you're buying property in Ontario. There was a new tax which was implemented by Ontario NRST, which is a non-resident speculation tax. So what it means is that if you are buying a property in GTA, which is a Greater Toronto Area, Toronto or a Golden Horseshoe, which includes a few cities, you will have to pay a 15% tax as a foreign buyer because you're not a resident here. Now, this 15% tax, you could get it back. For example, in the next 4 or 5 years after buying a property, if you become a permanent resident, you will be able to get that money back. Or if you have a kid who is coming here for a full-time education, you may be eligible to get that. As a foreign buyer, you may be eligible for financing as well. So if you put in a down payment of 50% or 60%, you could get a financing of 40%, again, depending upon the bank you're banking with and on your financial situation. The financing could happen from your local bank as well, if there is a local bank which is also registered in Canada, or you could have a Canadian bank, depending upon your financials, give you a mortgage. One of the common questions international buyers ask is that can they buy a property in Canada without physically being available in Canada? Yes, that's a possibility. You could do that either through a power of attorney, or you could buy a pre-construction project. Now, in a pre-construction project, the way it works is that if the typical deposit structure is 20% for a resident, for a non-resident it's about 35%. You could get electronic signatures done. You could get a pre-approval from a bank you're banking in your home country. If you bought a pre-construction property, the closing will happen 3 to 4 years at the time when you get a possession of a property. If you're buying a ready property, the closing will happen anywhere from 60 to 90 days. The process of closing would be you will require a lawyer, and you have to keep in mind that you will require 1 to 1.5% as a closing cost, which includes a lawyer fees, a land transfer tax, and also the 15% NRST, which could be refunded to you if you become a permanent resident. Once you've got the property, you've kept it for a few years, and now you want to sell the property. The steps involved in selling a property: you can sell your property to a foreign buyer, you can sell your property to a local buyer. What it means is that there is, again, no quota system, there is no regulation that as a foreign buyer, if you are selling your property, you can only sell it to foreigners. You can sell it to anybody you want. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind is that there is a capital gain tax which will be charged to you. And the way capital gain tax works is that on your first profit of, for example, if you made $100,000, a 50% is tax exempt. Rest of the 50%, there is a tax which is involved in the capital gain tax. We do recommend using a local lawyer and accountant who can help you with your tax remittances. You will require a property insurance to protect your property. The property insurance helps you in case if there's any damages to the property, in case of a fire or there's a sewerage backup, your insurance policy will cover in making sure that your value of your house is protected. So as I mentioned, foreign buyers are welcome by Canada. There is no minimum payment requirement. You could get financing. There is an NRST tax which is involved. There is a tax accountant and a lawyer that will be involved in your process. You can sell your property to any of the local or foreign buyers, and there is no quota system.